Here's a man whose resume reads like a highlight reel of the last 30 years of tech. LinkedIn, before it was LinkedIn. Sony, Universal, Deloitte, Breakthrough Technologies, billions of users, hundreds of millions raised. Disrupt you, future-proofing you, 12 languages. Wired called his job the coolest in the industry. His results suggest they undersold it. Ladies and gentlemen, Jay Samit.
Hey, everybody. Let me preface this that I sat here most of the day realizing I'm the dumbest person in the room. So I'll talk up to you. I want to share a case study that's going to be happening live that solves a problem. And the problem is the book industry, which is about to collapse. And books have two fundamental problems. One, the second it's printed, it's out of date by design. It can't be updated. Your 1974 Encyclopedia Britannica doesn't know anything that's happened since. But the second is a greater problem that even going online didn't solve, which is, what does the reader comprehend or not comprehend? What background are they bringing to the information, and how are they interpreting it? And that miscommunication can be quite wide. One of my books is in 12 languages around the world. I didn't write it anticipating a global audience, and I'm shocked that the core information translated. I got lucky. So AI has fundamentally changed everything. You know this. I spent the past 6 years as chairman of an AI company that's public, that went for active inference, conversation for another day. It learns as opposed to LLMs, which don't. But we're going to talk about the book market. And here's the problem with books right now. In a typical year, you have 3 million books. Another 2 million are coming out this year that are self-published, and then another 2 million on top of that that are AI written. There's one person who has 9,000 books that they wrote this year on Amazon. The slop is mass producing itself. Rising above that clutter and finding real truth and information is getting really, really difficult. But of the 158 million different books in the English language in print, 99% don't sell more than 5,000 copies. So there's a complete mismatch 6 ways from Tuesday. So why would I do another book? Trying to help people. So in the past, writing a book was 85% of the work, and then 15% doing what we're doing here, going to book signing, going on the Daily Show, whatever it is to get the word out. Competing against the AI, never sleeps, keeps on writing world, it's now switched. Writing your book is 15% of the time, and 85% of the time is how do you rise above the noise. So my new book, called The Second Act Advantage, is focused on everybody that's going to be displaced over the next 5 years. When I keynoted at Davos, I thought I was being, out there saying 1/3 of all jobs will disappear in the next 10 years. The speaker prior to me was the head of the International Monetary Fund, who said 1/3 of all jobs will disappear in the next 24 months. And we're talking globally. This is millions and millions of people that are not prepared for what's going to happen to them. And this time, it's not truck drivers and the blue collar, it's everybody. And I was vice chairman of Deloitte Digital Company that did $44 billion a year, which AI does 99.9% of what they're charging the $44 billion for. So my concept was, what if we built a custom AI, a digital J for lack of a better sense, that works with the reader from where they're coming from? We capture no personal information, violate no privacy, because we're also dealing with living longer. Because if you make it to 60, you have a pretty good shot that you'll make it to 90, which means your second act, your years after your primary career, is actually longer than your career. And if it took you a while in your career to find your sweet spot of being productive, it's definitely longer. So how do you get all these people from the sidelines back into solving world problems? That's the premise. And so with Digital J, I didn't want to make the mistake that so many other LLM-based AIs have done, which is let's train it on Twitter conversations. Burger King just announced that their drive-thru is going to be AI. Watch how many days, if not less than that, it takes for the thing to be taken down when it starts cursing racist tirades at people in the drive-thru window, because that's what it was trained on. So I didn't want to take that chance, especially given some of the countries that my book goes to, I'd be violating all kinds of laws. So this was just trained on my Wall Street Journal columns, my Wired columns, my Fortune columns, all my books, and a couple hundred podcasts and speeches. And I then put it through all the paces, and we have a great team, and I'll go through the tech stack in a second. I'm avoiding those slides because you understand them more than I will. But it was built open source, and it was built to be modular because we have several different audiences. Right now, the book is available on Amazon for pre-order. It comes out on Cinco de Mayo. But this time around, I'm not doing press interviews. The press gets to talk to Digital J. Now, that may seem arrogant. It actually isn't. In my best, I may have known certain facts. In my exact moment, I may have had a witticism that was genius in that one moment. Today, I don't remember any of those things. But every time I ask it a question that I'm asked, its answer is so much better. I sound really smart. Digital J continues to learn, continues to get better, and sees, just like when you search Google, what follow-ups people have and incorporates that into the next answer. So it gets more and more accurate as it goes on. And so it can work with any framework. And one of the reasons I came here today is if you want to work with my team or you're trying to test these things in the environment, we'll be dealing with a lot of different information. For example, one of the topics that we covered in the book, and I'm very sensitive to doing this in a very short period of time, is health tips to live longer. Now, everybody else will tell you to exercise and go to the gym 5 times a week and eat rabbit food. My 3 favorite foods are pizza, pasta, and pastrami. So for me, giving health advice would be hypocritical. But I read hundreds of the most recent research and basically came up with the Lazy Nerd's Guide to getting another 28 years. And it's very basic stuff. But I want to make sure I'm only giving that information to people whose health will not be jeopardized by following it. By the way, if you have a dog, you'll survive a stroke faster. If you have 2 orgasms a week, you'll live 6 years longer. These are things mom may not have told you. So it's a RAG architecture. You guys understand all that. And I'll be around afterwards to go into more depth. So data sovereignty has been talked about this endlessly today, but that was something that was real key to us because as we're moving forward, we're actually going to be doing outplacement training for people in specific careers to get them into other careers. If you decide that you want to geo-arbitrage, you don't want to live in this country because you can live better somewhere else, not just cheaper. We're number 67 in healthcare. We're not in the top 10. We're not in the top 50. And the other countries, it's free. Here it's the leading cause of bankruptcy. So understanding what do you have to do to live in Italy? What do you have to do to live in Costa Rica? Can I really get both knees and both hips replaced and get cataracts for a $100 deductible in Italy? See. So all of that information will constantly be kept update and tied to, following the previous speaker, trusted databases. Now, who says they're trusted? Me. So I'm putting my neck and my reputation saying, I'm the one that's vetting what goes in. Will I make mistakes? Yes. Will I then tell you I made a mistake? Yes. Do governments do that? No. Okay. And And I'm not anti any of those things, but we can't wait for a perfect system. So I wanted to do the best vetting that we could do, and the team built an amazing, amazing tool. I have the barcodes on me, so you can come up to me if you can't see from the cheap seats, which is every seat. But the second part of this is really why I did the book. Because the number one thing for living longer, everybody got the data wrong when they looked at blue zones, eating fish, eating Mediterranean, all true, all great. Thank you. Is that me that's beeping? Oh, I'm the only one hearing? Okay, yeah, it is me beeping. I have my phone using a timer. I apologize. What we found in the research is the number one thing for longevity is community, is feeling a part of something. Loneliness kills. When people retire, they lose their social network, they lose their identity, and they lose a third of their short-term memory in the first 12 months. Really scary stuff. But staying engaged, solving problems, whether you're doing it to make money or whether you're doing it to build legacy for a nonprofit, whatever your reason. And there's amazing stories in the book. The goal of the book and the goal of the AI is to let people connect with other people, not through me, not through the AI, but on their own, to start a second act society of people trying to get re-engaged. We've spent so much of the past 20 years using technology to divide us because hate is easily monetized. If you read Machiavelli, hate you can manipulate. Love, really can't control it. So that's the goal here, and that's why this tool was so important. So any learning or insights, we're all ears to hear about. Thank you, and if we have time for questions, I left a couple of my minutes for that.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Thanks so much, Jay. Wow. The second act. I think I'm in my second act. Gosh. So look, I'm looking around the audience here, and you've got a lot of. You're speaking to your audience, I think. They're probably some of them in their second act. You're coming to retire. What was it? What was your second act?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So I've been a serial entrepreneur doing a bunch of stuff and got tired, built another company. I wasn't trying to, I watched dozens of people become billionaires and become miserable. But I realized that there was a problem. We have a ton of problems in this world and no one is teaching people how to solve problems. So my second act was trying to figure out how to pay it back. So first I taught at USC. I taught how to build a high-tech startup. My best students one semester did $100 million in a semester. Real money, not pretend money. Then I heard from a millennial that old grandpa here doesn't know how to talk to that generation. So my second book was future-proofing you. I took a homeless immigrant, mentored him 1 day a week for a year, gave him no capital, no introductions, and he went from homeless, spoiler alert if you're in the middle of reading it, to self-made millionaire in under a year. And it matches the step-by-steps how to do it. And now I realize that AI is going to dramatically push people out. And second act, if you're saying you're not an old person, why am I paying attention to this? Everybody you just saw at the Olympics that lost by 2/100ths of a second and came in fourth, they're in their second act. Since 8 years old, they've been practicing one thing and now it's gone. Most people, their career ends much quicker than you realize. And I guarantee you, whether by choice or circumstance, your career will be disrupted this time. So disruption isn't about what happens to you, it's how you respond.
Well, thank you so much, Jay.
Jay, did you want to talk about anybody who pre-orders your book? What do they get?
I'm not trying not to do the plugs. So if you get the book ahead of time, just reach out to me. Tell me that you got the book. I believe in trust and integrity, and I'll give you the link to play with the AI now. And if you find problems and you get it to say horrible things, please let me know, because I've asked it some really tough, offensive stuff. But anyway, I hope you enjoy it and look forward to talking
will you
with
be at the after party?
I will be at the party.
Fantastic. So if you want to speak to Jay, hit him up at the after party.